What if the most horrifying crimes weren't hidden in basements or abandoned buildings, but recorded so the killers could relive them? Southern California, late 1970s. The region was defined by sun, freedom, and youth culture. Hitchhiking was common. Trust came easily. Danger didn't. That made it the perfect hunting ground. At the center of this case was *** Lawrence Bittaker***. He wasn't charming or intelligent. He was angry, bitter, and deeply resentful of women. His life was marked by violence, repeated prison sentences, and a hatred that never faded. When he was released from prison in 1978, something had shifted. He no longer wanted control. He wanted domination. Bittaker planned carefully. He bought a van, soundproofed it, stocked it not with weapons meant to kill quickly, but tools designed to cause pain. Everything was intentional. At this point, no one was missing. No police reports. No alarms. Just a man preparing quietly for something unspeakable. Because the most terrifying crimes don't begin with blood. They begin with planning. The second man didn't look dangerous either. *** Roy Norris *** was younger, insecure, and desperate to belong. He struggled with self-worth, relied heavily on alcohol, and felt invisible. Where Bittaker was calculating and enraged, Norris was submissive, easily influenced, easily controlled. That made him perfect. Bittaker didn't recruit Norris with threats. He recruited him with validation. He offered purpose, confidence, and belonging. Together, they formed a dynamic of domination and obedience. Their conversations grew darker. They talked openly about abducting teenage girls, about control, about pain, not as fantasy, but as inevitability. Inside the van were ropes, pliers, ice picks, hammers. But the most disturbing object wasn't physical. It was a tape recorder. Bittaker insisted on recording everything. Screams, begging, silence. Not for proof, but as trophies. Moments he could replay again and again. By late 1979, the planning was complete. All they needed now were victims. The first abduction happened almost effortlessly. Teenage girls hitchhiked every day. When a van slowed and two men offered a ride, there was no immediate reason to panic. Once the door closed, there was no escape. Inside the van, control was absolute. What followed was prolonged, calculated cruelty. This wasn't impulsive violence, it was domination. The pattern formed quickly. Girls were abducted, tortured, and murdered. Some were held for hours, others for days. The tape recorder was always running. Outside the van, teenagers began disappearing. Some bodies were found in remote areas, mutilated beyond recognition. Others were never recovered. Jurisdictions failed to connect cases. Patterns were missed. Parents waited for phone calls that never came. By now, the violence wasn't escalating. It had stabilized. That's what made it terrifying. The end didn't come from brilliant police work. It came because one victim survived. In June 1979, Shirley Lynette Ledford was abducted. What happened to her would later become one of the most infamous recordings in criminal history. So horrific that jurors wept when reading the transcript. Pressure mounted. Witnesses noticed the van. Teenagers reported close calls. One potential victim escaped before she could be killed and gave police a description. Officers soon located the van. Inside were tools, restraints, and unmistakable evidence. Norris broke first. He confessed, led police to dump sites, and detailed Bittaker's obsession with recording torture. Bittaker showed no remorse. He smiled, mocked investigators, treated the process like a game. The tapes were recovered. They were never played publicly. Their existence was enough. The trial was unlike anything before it. Jurors were given transcripts instead of recordings to avoid lasting psychological harm. Even that was enough to convey the cruelty. Bittaker showed no remorse and was sentenced to death. He died on death row in 2019 of natural causes. Norris received 45 years to life and remains incarcerated. The case permanently changed how courts handle extreme evidence and how law enforcement understands predatory sadism. But this story isn't about the killers. It's about the victims, young women whose trust was exploited, whose lives were stolen, and whose voices were almost erased. If this case disturbed you, that's not weakness. It means you're human. Because the most dangerous people aren't always hiding. Sometimes they're driving right past us, waiting for someone to trust them.